If I get everyone's attention, if you can please look at the entrance, and then you'll miss our beautiful site at the front. I'm right here. Kia ora, kia ora. No mai hoki mai. Again, another welcome to all our contestants and supporters today who have come in. But we need to do a big mihi to a few people in the room first, to our sponsors. So firstly to the Sir Ian Taylor and his Matauranga team, tēnā koe matua. Also to Microsoft for setting up Minecraft for us. Kia ora rā. To Harvey Norman for sponsoring our prizes. To the Ministry of Education for, I guess, piecing together what you guys are going to be jumping into today for our speed builds. Big shout out to Playtech, who is kindly given us the technology today for you guys to have a tutu on. And to Impact Ed and Annika and your team, thanks tēnā koutou. Mō o manaki kei o ringa tō tātou oranga te rānei. Nō reira, just saying thank you for hosting us, looking after us today. Our well-being's in your hands, so kia ora. And lastly, but not least, to our judges today. So we've got Janelle, she can give us a wave, kia ora. Myself, also a judge, I'm Taikawa, sorry, forgot to introduce myself. And we've got the bro Nathan over here, who's also a huge Minecraft supporter, builder. He's got a bit of a story, and I'll get him to talk about it on stream later. How Minecraft has helped shape him into his career that he's chosen. And to the bro Connor, he's not here yet, but he'll be here later. And not to forget, we've got the bro Marcus over here on our production side. So kia ora, Marcus, he's looking after all the cams and the beautiful cast we've got going on today. To the bro Ngati from Victory Up, running his high school league platform of esports. So he's our esports experienced, knowledgeable, talented man over there. And also to Bro Pride Lads from Ngati Gaming, taking our content for today. So if he's coming around asking you questions, it's not for a silly reason. It supports this and bringing this back here again. So kia ora rā. Ka pai. So we're going to get the teams going. Oh, video. So we've got a video first from Matauranga. After that, I'll ask Ian Taylor to come forward for his kōrero. Kia ora.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
50 years ago, NASA sent astronauts to the moon. There it is, over there. No one on it, just a quick visit up and back, then a big parade, and they were famous for life. But over 800 years ago, my tupuna made a journey just as hard and just as amazing. Over 4,000 kilometres from here in West Polynesia, across the mighty Pacific to Aotearoa, a land they knew that was there. How? Birds. When you hang out on an island long enough without an iPad, you start to notice stuff. Like how the long-tailed Pacific cuckoo would travel south every spring. You watch them do this for 100 years. They go, they come back, they go, they come back, and then you start to think, there's land down south, I just need to find it. So if every spring you set sail on the same line as the cuckoo, you'll find that land that they're flying to. Who's brave enough and smart enough to do this? Maui and his mates. They sailed south, over the horizon, found Aotearoa, came back and told everyone. Anana, famous for life, astronaut of his time.
Ko haururu te maunga, ko Ngati Pāhau were te hapu, ko Ngati Kahungunu te iwi, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. So my name's Ian Taylor, and my pepaha says that I'm just this little Māori fella brought up in a place called Ropunga on the east coast of the North Island. I was born then, brought up in the 1950s. I'm 72 now, and when I was growing up there, we grew up in a house without electricity. And yet here I am standing here looking at this amazing array of technology that you are all experts at. Now, I started this project about 3 years ago. So, as I said, I'm 72, and I grew up without knowing any of these stories that we're now sharing with you. And the most amazing story about the Waka Haurua. You know, the Waka Haurua was the first catamaran ever designed in the world, and it was designed by our ancestors, our Polynesian tupuna. And when Captain Cook arrived in Tahiti with the big Endeavour, the big Flash Endeavour, and the Polynesians went out to meet him in the Waka Haurua, he couldn't believe how fast they were. They sailed in directions that boats weren't meant to sail in, and the Tahitians, the Polynesian voyagers, looked at the Endeavour and thought it was broken because it was so slow. So that's what this competition is about. Now you're about to go speed building Waka Haurua, but remember while you're doing that Waka Haurua is a true state-of-the-art craft, and it tells us that our ancestors, our Polynesian ancestors, had innovation in their DNA. And just to kind of wrap that whole story up, so those ancestors came to this land in state-of-the-art craft, guided by the stars and ocean currents, the stars, sun and moon. And today, a really great example of that are the state-of-the-art rockets that are being fired from Mahia Peninsula back to the stars that brought us here. So that's a lovely story and a lovely roundup. I hope you have a great day. And again, I too would like to thank everybody, Annika, the whole team, for putting this together. I could never, ever have imagined, as we climbed on board that Waka Haurua that sailed from Tahiti to New Zealand 3 years ago, that I'd be welcoming people to an event like this and to see you performing and doing this amazing stuff. So you all have a great day. Ka pai.
Ka pai. This one's not working, but you can hear me. Ka pai. Can everyone hear me? So we're going to get our first two schools up. Just to meet on.
This one's working.
That one's working? Okay. Kia ora. Hello. There we go. Sound like Barry White. Ka pai. If we can get Tamariki School and St. Mark's, please, to meet on my right, your left. So over here, thank you. They're going to be given... Ka pai. Let's go. So they're going to be jumping on, setting up their keybinds. For those who don't know what keybinds are, those are literally the interact on your keyboard. They've got custom ones that they like to use themselves. They can change them around however. It is not illegal to use your own custom keybinds. We just ask that you set them to default once you're finished. So kia ora. Give them a round of applause, whānau. Kia ora. Each team will get given, I guess, if you can look at the back screen here, there'll be a wee box that they can click, and they'll enter into an area just for their team. They can't exit or enter without hitting that button. They'll be in there for the duration of the speed build, which is 10 minutes, I believe. Their goal during the speed build is to make a waka unua, a waka haurua that Ian's just talking about before. And it's up to their leadership within their team, the communication to create this waka unua. And we'll see their creative zest for this mahi show through on the gameplay. Just so you know what's going on. Kia ora. Also, just to keep things smooth and keep running well today, if the next two teams to be coming up will be Tuahiwi and Hillmorton High. So after this match, if you can please make your way to that far entrance side of the stage and bring you on. Kia ora. So our tamariki are just getting ready on the stage. I believe they are ready to head in. Cool. Got the Twitch chat up.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Just keep talking. Cool. Hapua whānau. So those tuning in, where are you tuning in from? I know there's a lot of kids coming. Ka pai. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kids are getting straight into it. So we have Tamariki versus St. Mark's in our first start off here. So I'm not just doing this solo today. I'd like to introduce Nathan once again. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself and your experience with Minecraft, all right?
Kia ora. I'm Nathan. Now, I've played Minecraft for as long as it's been out, the open beta, and 10, 11 years later, I couldn't have imagined that we'd be in a position where we're watching school kids build all sorts in a funded competition for esports.
It's quite amazing how far gaming's come in the last 5 to 10 years, really, isn't it? But our kids are getting into, just to explain to those at home, if you didn't hear earlier, so our kids are creating waka unua, or a double hole waka here. What team is in the orange and what is pink, sorry?
You can see immediately the kids going for the wood blocks. Good choice for a boat, really.
Now, do these boats need to functionally float, or?
But you can see beneath the blocks, they are not being supported by water. However, these boats are based on the waka that guided the Polynesians to Aotearoa 800 years ago.
Now, we need to place a bit of mana on our tūpuna's names. You know, they travelled across the vast Polynesian Sea, just being guided by stars. Some of us can't even fathom it now.
They struggled to get through the traffic to the middle of the town in the morning.
So we have, I believe this is Tamariki School here on the orange.
You see immediately we've got some contrasting wood types here, set themselves apart from the competition. Some nice strips, log action going over here versus the planks in the orange.
Now, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert at all. I'm completely new when it comes to Minecraft, but I do know Waka Unua. And one feature of a Waka Unua is a double hole part of the Waka. So both schools have definitely started to outfit 2 holes of a boat. It's just awesome to see the creativity and the teamwork coming through.
Of course, part of the challenge here and what contestants are trying to win the judges over with is their technique and use of different blocks to achieve the shape and form of the waka.
So for those in the audience with us, Tamariki School is on your right-hand side, and St. Mark's is on your left. Sorry, that's opposite.
See, both schools are already looking to get in the tapered ends at either side of the waka, defining that shape quite a bit more easily than they would otherwise.
Awesome. We can see the ihu or the waka being performed here on the right-hand side by St. Mark's, I believe. So Tamariki School is in the orange.
Part of the challenge for these teams here is the size of the space they're using. You can see they are confined to within the coloured borders, and so part of the challenge is getting it everything they want to design and build to fit. Loving how both teams here are quite clearly getting their own style, and it'll be interesting to see how this progresses through the rest of the day as other teams continue to add things to the different squares.
I'm actually a huge fan of that brown, darker texture of those holes there.
It certainly stands out more on the base beneath it, but what I find interesting is that the lighter colour gives them the chance to detail it darker later.
Nothing like a blank canvas to draw on, right?
Something like that. Clearly, both teams have some form of vision, as all the players to some degree are moving back and forth, which wouldn't be the case if they didn't really have a team idea of what was happening. So it's nice to see that working together there.
We've got our first mask coming out here, and a bit of a bit of a sail.
It's that darker contra.
Yeah,
It'll be
coming
interesting
through.
to see how the team would do that with their darker colour.
These teams are definitely studied up on their Waka Unua, that's for sure.
I believe all teams have been supplied with a model of a Waka Unua to have reference to. And so it's fascinating how in Minecraft you're only using squares and cubes, and you're trying to convey this curved shape on a very small scale as well.
Which I can say they're doing very well.
I'd absolutely say they're doing very well. The larger the scale goes in Minecraft, the easier it is to get that detail. So the fact that the teams are quite easily getting that shape of either side of the prow and then the sails is quite impressive. The sails themselves will be very fascinating detail and technique-wise to see how the teams execute.
So we're coming up, the time is ticking down. We're about 2 minutes 30 off them having to stop. And we'll get the audience again to do a countdown for the last 10 seconds.
But now is the chance for the teams to make sure they get everything in there they want to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of the waka. At this stage, communication is really important for the teams, so they know what each individual member is trying to do before the timer expires.
You were right calling that darker texture coming through on the light model there. It's really standing out, and it's awesome to see.
You can see now both teams actually have that functional double hull with the connections in the middle. I'd probably say that's the most important thing, would you?
I mean, they could break apart and you get two single hull canoes, but it doesn't do so well on the open oceans of the Pacific.
So what's the advantage of the double hull?
The double hull lets the waka be flexible and bounce off the waves as you go. Obviously, the mast in the middle with the sail, you don't have to paddle. Cuts out on manpower, and you get to lie down if you like on the middle. So we're just coming into our last minute right now. So let the teams know it's your last final minute. Put those final details on your waka, and we'll have a countdown on the last 10 seconds.
Loving the use of staircases to show the edges in the prow at a more sharp angle.
So we got St. Mark's in the pink and Tamariki in the orange, just so you know. And kia ora for everyone coming through on chat too.
Let's give some love to the team's performing audience.
Four, three, two, one. And that's our first round done. Woo-hoo! Well done. We can just get a quick pan of our builds here.
So let's have a quick flyby of those two builds.
Well, so this is St. Mark's right here. Oh, there's a bit of detailing on the front. Can we get a look at that?
Well, the use of hay bales there to try and communicate that thatch. Obviously trying to get in a bit of a cabin there just before they ran out of time. Obviously a very accurate material use in actual walk.
Awesome, and this is Tamariki in the orange here. You can see, I'm not too sure what that is. It looks like a bit of storage, maybe some kumara there in the waka.
And the use of glazed terracotta, sometimes a much maligned block because of its bright colours. Obviously, there was a purpose here for that storage, as you say. And I like how they've utilised a more complex block.
Also, just a reminder to our next competing schools, can we just ask Tuahiwi and Hamilton High to meet on the far side of the stage, please? Kia ora.
So our judges today, for those watching, will be looking at several sections in which they judge the waka before us. First of all is creativity, as how they will be using the waka reference and how that is then displayed and created through Minecraft. Have they tried to be traditional or have they tried to be innovative? Next up, detail will be judged. Each of these last 2 points will be judged between points of 1 to 10. What are the small elements they added to make the overall build more exciting? Third off, completeness. There's not as much emphasis on this as it's a speed building competition. But how much of this did you manage to finish in the time you were given? Then communication. How well did the team work together? How often were they all active and communicating and working? Strategy. Did the team have a strategy for the build, or were they kind of make it up as they go? All these factors will go into the judging.
We've got some prizes to give away. Who's keen for some prizes today? Come on, who's keen for some prizes today? That's better. Right, my lovely assistant here, Tyler, from St Mark's School and from Impact Ed, is going to ask a question about spawning. Who knows much about spawning in Minecraft? Oh, what's the question?
What do you use to spawn an animal?
You choose someone. Can't choose St Mark's School. I know, sad, right? Quick, go, good games, quick game. Correct, right. Hot chocolate cup and t-shirt for you. Round of applause for this guy. Right, and a t-shirt. Well done. Is Minecraft Education Edition free for all schools in Aotearoa? Is it? Yeah, ka pai. Cards and a t-shirt for you, mate. Oh, this is what I do at home as well. Making a mess. Right, what day of the week is it today? Yep. It is Monday. Well done. Come and grab yourself some cards and a hot chocolate cup. You got another Minecraft question? No. How many people can you have in Minecraft at the same time in your class? As many as you want. I don't know the answer. Is that true? Oh, we've got a debate here. What do you think? 40. What do you think? Does anyone know the answer? What do you say? That sounds like a really good answer to me. Do you want to give him the stuff, please? Well done. Right, we've got heaps of prizes to give away. Over here at our judging table, the lovely Connor from Microsoft unpacked a massive suitcase. We've got loads of spot prizes. And also here on the casters table, these are all spot prizes to give away today as well. So what we want to see is people cheering. We're going to find our best supporters here today. Lots of claps, lots of cheering, telling the team to go on. We want to hear you make some noise. Right, are we ready to get the next part started? Yeah, there we go. Come on. Yeah.
Awesome. Teams on stage ready? Yeah. Cool. So just before we start, so everyone knows, Tuahiwi are going to be blue. Okay, so their border's going to be blue. And over here we're going to have, looks like, we'll call it orange. All right, so we're going to count this down in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start building. Go, boys.
You can call me killer as you look.
Kia ora, welcome back. We've got our next two schools up on the stage. We've got Tuahiwi in the blue, Hamilton in the orange. We can see Hamilton's gone off with a ripper of a start. So you can see the teamwork coming through as there seems to be quite a big build.
We can see here Hill Morton in the orange using some redstone contraptions along the bottom there, some piston work and a redstone clock. For those who don't know, this will activate on a timed circuit, and I'll be really interested to see what they use the pistons for with the circuit. Clearly, quite clear strategy for Hill Morton as they are away. And already some quite different colour difference uses from Tuahiwi.
The crowd is going off here around. Those tuning in from home, you can see the water coming up here. It's a bit of a fountain. Wowee.
Look at those waves. You can see there the redstone contraption, those repeaters blasting in a circle. That's releasing the timed circuit that's making the pistons spit up and down.
So if you can just break down, Nathan, how do those pistons work on Minecraft? So I'm completely new to all of this, so any explanation of how those operate or what they need to set them up would be so good right now.
But there is no need to be ashamed about knowing this. There are people that play Minecraft every day and can't use redstone. Redstone, for those who don't know, is an electricity-based system in Minecraft, and what these pistons are doing is pushing and pulling blocks. So the red wires are sending through a power signal, making the pistons push up and down. It's really quite impressive.
It's a bit of a power play by Hill Morton here, showing the expertise in this build right now, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely a power play. But what I'm also really impressed here is the dedication to the mountain of water being placed by Tuahiwi on the left here.
Yeah, as a bit of a countermeasure to showcasing Hill Morton's expertise, right? It's Tuahiwi coming through. You know, we can make waves too. We can make water. It's nothing too special. We can do it.
Well, the comment I made earlier about the colour of the base blocks sort of balancing out the wood has been completely countered by filling in the whole area with water. Clearly, there was quite a bit of communication at the start of the round from Tuahiwi as they stood and talked, and now they are away laughing at the halfway mark with 5 minutes to go.
What's going on the right hand side there? Yeah, is it a bit of land? Is it seaweed or water wash? I'm not sure.
I would say the use of sand and grass there is trying to get a scoreline at the front of the Waka there. I'd be interested to see whether the Waka balances at the same level as the land. That little attention to detail.
That's over here. Waka is now taking shape. You can see the definite teamwork going on there. It's definitely one of the things we are looking for as judges today.
This diversity in block use is very impressive and definitely marks the beginnings of a better detail. You can see now Hill Morton dealing with the one drawback of redstone, making sure everything works in synchronization, and they're doing a mighty impressive job so far.
Just like to remind whānau too who are here today that Although you may be already on the tamira, you might be enemies on stage in this competition, you are still friends off stage.
As we near the 3-minute mark, it's important for the teams to keep in mind that completeness is something marked by the judges. So it's very important to make sure you get as much in as you can. 3 minutes to go.
Now there's a big vibe in the room right now. The audience is going off.
The audience is coming to life as the competition progresses. I almost don't want to give commentary over the amount of excitement in this room. Oh, the wall's starting to come in on the left there. The beginning of a sale, I'm sure.
What is happening down the bottom there on Hill Morton's side? It's going to be filling it in with a bit of agua.
I can see the use of glass being used beneath Hill Morton's ship. A more opaque, a more transparent block, trying to give that illusion of depth, perhaps.
I'm not too sure if you just saw that, but a tree just blossomed out of nowhere.
So this world has a pack enabled with a couple of New Zealand creatures, and it looks like Hill Morton has come across the Putakawa and spawned one in.
Wow,
That's a good use of inventory. Going through all the available blocks.
And we're closing closely to our last minute here to let the competitors know that we're a minute out from completion.
Now's the time to go all out. You can see there another aspect of this New Zealand pack is the godwits. Those are the birds in there have been spawned in Hill Morton's area.
It is so creative. Wow.
It's definitely more of an ambiance and a setting to Hill Morton's. But I also quite like how open the ocean we've got into the Iwi here. And you can see they're starting to use copper blocks to craft waves. I like the detail of the white slab on the top to act as sea foam. You can see now our viewing accounts going back, preparing to teleport our students out as we close out the round.
We must have.
Stop building.
Applause.
Stop building.
Wow, so this is Tuahiwi's build here. You can see the detail of the water there. But what really stands out to me is the detail of the sails there.
The Jewel Mars, first one we've seen yet. And here we can see the detail of Hill Morton's join between the two hulls. And that wonderful redstone. Look at that. That wave simulation is something else.
Oh, the next one. Yeah. So yeah. If we can get our oh, sorry. Kia ora. If we can get our next two teams ready on the other far side of the stage, so I was asking for Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Te Whānau Tahi and St. Thomas of Canterbury. So the audience was quite loud just now. I'm not too sure if they were listening, but if we can get Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Te Whānau Tahi, your team, and St. Thomas of Canterbury.
St. Thomas of Canterbury up here as well.
So Nathan was quickly explaining what Hilton did there with the redstone. If you can just elaborate further, bro.
So the blue concrete used on Hill Mawson's pistons there is one of the only blocks in Minecraft that actually is affected by gravity. So the concrete powder falls, so the piston pushes it up, it falls, pushes it up again. So we have that wave motion. They've kind of doubled up because they've used the sticky piston there, which does pull blocks down after it, but it is a great attention to detail nonetheless.
It's so impressive the creativity that can come from Minecraft. Like, I never actually thought that something like that could happen. You know, as a complete newbie to Minecraft, all I see is blocks. But now I'm seeing blocks fly around. I'm seeing it translucent. I'm seeing animals being put into these blocks. It's just incredible. The talent that schools are producing today.
So what our audience wouldn't have heard was the question posed to the audience between the two builds, and that is how you spawn animals. All the students knew the answer, and it was used in their round. We can see now as our spectator count flies around, waiting for the next two teams to sort out this world that has been built for the students. The great power and these villages inspired by Kiribati housing.
Just so those without Te Reo Māori expertise, Wero Hanga is a challenge of building, which is what we're getting into, doing some Minecraft speed builds today. Obviously, we're leaning on Sir Ian Taylor's Matauranga of Wakaunua to showcase these creative builds.
It's a bit of attention to detail here in the well building, the water at the top of the waterfall, making sure there's actually a source. Of course, in Minecraft, there are no such rules. You can place blocks wherever you want. And so this is part of the challenge posed to teams, actually giving reasons for their creative designs by their block choice.
So for those viewing in from home,
Our whānau tahi school here is a kura kaupapa Māori, ka kōrero reo Māori ana ki rātou e hangana. O reira, tēnā koe nare.
10, 9, 8.
There's so much energy in our young people today in the room. It's exciting to see their peers compete as they make waka unua. So I see our teams loading in here.
The third pair of teams to take on the build challenge. Te whānau tahi, St. Thomas's.
Okay, so we got Te Whānau Tahi in the purple here on the left and St. Thomas in the green. I do believe our Te Kura Kaupapa Māori Whānau Tahi, they are our youngest competing team today.
Immediately, the use of blue blocks and the green space there, they're changing it up using different blocks that could be concrete and ice. One of the great joys of Minecraft is that the blocks that are put in the game aren't always needed to be used for the purpose they are assigned. And we can see a beautiful use of water being made out of concrete.
St. Thomas has just let it rip. You can obviously see they've had a good team huddle before coming on stage, sorting out what each player is going to do. So the communication is key.
Communication strategy is some of the marked categories by the judges because it just shows in the design of the locker if the students know what they're doing beforehand. A little bit of inbuilt Kiwiana there in the green space as ferns are placed all along the foreshore. And in the purple space, a very strongly shaped hull already being popped into existence. And look at this use of wood blocks, already a bit of texturing using different wood rather than one kind of structure. It's a nice bit of detail, and I'd like to see it move forward. For the second time, acacia wood, that is that orange wood, is being implemented for the whole design. It definitely makes it pop in the water. It gives it a different look to the darker brown blocks.
Maybe they just saw different examples of what the Waka will look like online or wherever. Maybe they got two different models. Teams are sticking to these two types of colour schemes. Is there any other brown colour schemes they could be using?
Are there? Well, they are very limited by the available woods in Minecraft, and a lot of them are brown. And so this bright acacia orange is probably the outline that we have. They say for the more traditional red colours that we're doing from the detailing on Waka, you'd struggle to find a wood in this version of Minecraft that would compensate. And that's why block choice is so important.
So I just want to point out St. Thomas here. They've actually made one hole smaller than the other. Now that's a fine detail that we can see on Wakaunua. That, both holes aren't always the same size. The smaller one is used as more of it's called an ama, and it's more a balancing for the main hull of the canoe.
We're just over the halfway mark, teams. Look at how nicely shaped that hull is. The great use of spear blocks to give it the curve either side.
Now I know we say speed build, but I reckon if I got in there, I'd maybe place 2 blocks.
It takes so long to navigate the inventory and the amount of blocks available. You've got to know immediately what blocks you're going to use, or you spend the whole time just browsing like your Windows system. Loving the lushness on the far shore there in St. Thomas's, I should say. And what we can
You go, my bro.
what we can actually see, the use of fences between the two hulls is a thinner block. It kind of gives it that more thin appearance in the plank. Lovely compact hull in the purple zone. You're coming up on the 3-minute mark, teams. Make sure you have everything you want in your zone. 3 minutes to go.
But if it's a netting that they're using in there, a little bit of finer timber to lash those waka together.
Yeah, those fence posts.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that fence posts are available in that orange colour. So clearly, for a little bit of difference, they've used the lighter brown so you can see it more easily. A nice thought. And the crowd can't get enough. This support is wonderful. Let's keep it going.
And there we go, a mask going up.
And you can see the team here has used actual water as water,
Yeah.
which is an interesting detail. And it's made quick work of that bottom layer for that team.
There's a bit of a tree going up there too. I am a fan of the shoreline.
The tree just popped up from a sapling, so that was an automatic growth cycle within Minecraft.
Oh wow.
They've gone and set it up and it's grown on its own. Good way to get detail in without doing much work. We can see that second hole coming in the purple zone. And really nice detail how the underside of that hull is a darker colour than the upper side, kind of indicating it's wet.
That is what happens to wood when it gets wet. It goes dark, doesn't it?
Yeah. 1 minute left, team.
So the crowd is cheering on Whānau Tahi here. To come down to our last 40 seconds.
Makes our job easier.
Yeah.
The mast coming in the purple section there. A bit of wool for the sail in the nick of time. We're about to do the 10-second countdown.
And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's it, team.
Pai tū pai hinga whānau. Ka pai another round of applause for whānau tahi in St. Thomas.
Like the depths in the sails we have on the acacia bit.
Now this is St. Thomas here. Oh, will those trees still grow?
Those trees will continue to grow throughout this morning and afternoon and in detail as they go along.
So that's got another 30 minutes to grow those trees.
I see the little detail there of the arm stand being used to farm crops in the waka there.
Wow. Wee.
Bit of food for the journey. Look at that.
You know, they are long treks that these wakauna would take, especially when migrating through the Pacific Islands and making their way all the way to Aotearoa.
And
So-
once again, the wee navigator here in the boat to Te Whanatahi.
So cute. So we'll just call our next two schools up and get Breen's Intermediate and Te Kura Mariko Carisbrook Intermediate. You might see Henry Lawson there from Victory up on the top right of the cast here, donning the red banner. The teams are just getting ready. They can set their custom keybinds if they choose to do so. And once they're ready, we'll get the thumbs up and we'll have another countdown. Cool. I'll just take this time to do another mihi to our sponsors for this event. So to Sir Ian Taylor and the Matauranga team for providing the platform for us today. Kia ora koutou. To Microsoft providing Minecraft and the build. Tēnā koutou. Harvey Norman coming through as a sponsor for prizes and giveaways. Ministry of Education for again creating Minecraft as an education space for tamariki. To Playtech, providing the technology in which our competitors can compete. But the team's decked out with computers on stage today. to impact Ed and Alaka and the team for looking after us today. Tēnā koutou. Obviously, us behind the scenes, to Victory Up, to Digital Natives Academy on the production end, and to our wonderful content creator, Pride Lens from Ngati Gaming.
As we get further into the competition, I love to see the different blocks and styles that every team is going for. Thus far, everyone is recognizable as different from the
Every school has come through with their unique style this morning. Do have 2 more rounds after this.
we get set up for the fourth player.
Brains prep. So if we can get another countdown from the audience as we shoot off into our next round between Breens and Mariko. So we got Breens in the purple and Mariko Intermediate in the white. So without further ado, find out if we can do a countdown. You ready? 10, 9. And off they go. It's been awesome seeing the different creative flows from each school. They've all been unique in creating their waka unua today. But we can see Mariko just getting straight into it. Blocks have already been placed in the first few seconds.
And we're both away. And already we've got some nice detailing, use of logs as a mark. You can see the bark texture on this rather than on the planks of the other woods. No, still got skin.
As long as your skinny waka can still float, I can't see any issue with that. Now we can see a bit of teamwork and creativity coming from Brains. Our Hapua has been placed around to signify, water.
Water is a very useful element. I think every team is finding very quickly how long it's going to take to place every single block as water.
They've opted to start with a mast, is it? So just to build the platform.
You can't place on blocks of air, and you need something to scaffold to get from place to place. And that's part of the thing that takes time.
Yeah. It's a small attention to detail that I could never pick up. So thanks, Nathan, for providing the expertise today.
Well, you may be wondering, if you don't know Minecraft well, why we just don't have water beneath the contested areas. You can't place on water either, so it would make it unnecessarily difficult for all the teams.
Yeah, that's right.
Mast rising high in the air. Of course, I presume the size of the sails helps to know how fast the waka can go. It's all dependent on wind, is that right? No paddling whatsoever.
I've got a question, Nathan. If they were to cut the bottom of their mast right now, would the rest of the build fail?
No. So most blocks in Minecraft don't adhere to gravity. Certain falling blocks like sand and gravel, and the concrete powder that I mentioned earlier on the hill builds. Most other blocks don't follow the rules of gravity whatsoever, which means our students don't have to be engineers to make everything work. So that's an advantage.
Well, the sail is coming along quite nicely. I like the wee detail, the wind rippling through the sail right here.
So in many ways, boats generally and waka are an exceedingly difficult thing to ask our builders to build because curves don't exist in Minecraft to kind of simulate them. And so the likes of getting that wind movement and the curve and the prow of the waka is all dependent on how well the students can use blocks and how well they can manipulate the space to show movement. And so that is a very good detail.
I'm just blown away by the creativity that we've seen today. And it's just non-stop. Everyone's got their own unique way of tackling this problem of creating their build. Is there any small micro mechanics you can point out that you can notice players using to make these builds?
Well, I mentioned just before that gravity doesn't really exist, and yet you can see in the purple space they have actually supported the bottom of the mast using stair blocks to simulate this sort of structural property. So even though you could easily just build it straight up and ignore gravity altogether, they're still detailing it in a way to simulate that reality, and that's something that's quite important to the build looking real. And of course, the use of different blue blocks as well to simulate that ocean. Once again, there are tens of blue blocks that you could be using, but this different texturing to give it volume and depth is a very good technique where it is easy to build with one block. Four minutes left, James. Now's the time to discuss with your partners. Make sure you have everything in there you want. We can see a shoreline coming in there with the sand being placed down. Would indicate that the water is in quite shallow water. Is that something these boats are known for?
I like the way detailing coming through with the lighter shade there. Again, I guess signaling that it is dry inside that waka, a good, nice, dry waka on top. Keeping the people looked after as you venture overseas.
You can see in the background Phil Morton's contraction still pumping up and down. I really like the use here of that sort of dapple blue texture. That's prismarine, and in the world of Minecraft, that is a waterlogged box. So it's being used in its right environment. It's a bit of know-how.
It's impressive. I didn't even know there was this many colors or shapes that you could produce in Minecraft. You know, being an absolute beginner to all this, but you can see the creativity coming through from every team. Yeah, big brain things.
This is interesting. The use of cobwebs here between the hulls of the waka. Perhaps a block choice that didn't work out the way they intended.
They don't want spiders on their boats.
What we're seeing here, you can kind of see in that fencing detail, there is trapdoors, there are slabs, there are buttons, there are fence blocks, and it shows the vast variety of wooden block types that you really need to know your way around. And beyond that, the use of them to give that depth by using a trapdoor, which isn't a half block, it's in a full block, it's almost a third of a block, and it gives just that extra detail that you need to know to be able to utilize.
And we are coming into our last minute, so the teams know we've got just under 50 seconds right now before we finish these builds. The crowd is going off. There's a lot of vibe, a lot of energy of our young people today. It's awesome to see. Coming into 30 seconds, Whānau.
You can see the quickly spreading water appears and spread over 8 blocks. It's a very good way to fill in the space.
If we can prepare our crowd here today, we're coming into our last 10 seconds. If we can get a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let us finish.
Going to do karakia for our kai, and then I'd like to welcome up our contestants who, competing today to come and help themselves with some fruit, some kai, some drinks. But I'll just do our karakia. Ka pai me ino I tātou. Nau mai ngā hoa te wā o te ngākina, te waitai, te wai Māori, nā tāne, nā rongo, nā tangaroa, nā maru. Ko rangi nui e tūo nei, ko papa tūnuku e takoto nei. Tūturu whakamaua kia tīna. Haumi e, hui e. Kia ora. So if our contestants want to come up, just grab some kai. Think of the person after you. Leave some kai for someone else. Kia ora. So we've got 2 more rounds for our last 4 teams, sorry. So 2 more rounds, and then we'll head into the second half of our build challenge. So if I can ask Te Waka Unua and Rāwhiti School to meet on the side of the stage, please. Ka pai. How was morning tea, by the way? Woohoo! Nothing like a bit of food. Nice. Just quickly, another mihi to our sponsors for this event. So to Matauranga and the team that Sir Ian Taylor leads, kia ora to you guys, to Microsoft, Harvey Norman, Ministry of Education, Playtech, Impact Ed, Annika and the team providing the kai, so kia ora. And again to our production side, to Victory Up, Digital Natives Academy and Ngati Gaming. Can I just say how awesome our competitors have been so far? It's awesome to see all your creativity coming out. Every waka is unique to your team. So big round of applause for you guys. Just while we're filling in time, I'll just run through what the judges are marking you on. So our first one is creativity. Our second one is the detail in which you put into your build. The third part is how complete your build is. And the next point is communication, so how your team communicates who's doing what. And then lastly, the strategy in which you've put in place to create your waka unua. So keep that in mind as you're heading into your second half of your builds, but for now we've got 2 more rounds, whānau, and then we'll get back into going through everyone once again. I'd like to also make a massive mihi to the Christchurch City Libraries, especially to Tani, to Danny, and Robbie for helping us put this all together, being in your location. Are we ready? We're going to head into another countdown for our for Te Waka Unua and Rauwhiti School. So when you're ready, on 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Now, obviously, these last 4 teams have a bit of a advantage, should I say, having seen everyone else's creativity coming through, seeing everyone else's builds. They've had morning tea to talk over their strategy, get a bit of energy ready to start piecing things together. So we've got Rauwhiti in the yellow and Unua in the blue. Rauwhiti are going off, having blocks straight out there. We definitely see the shape of our hull coming through here. Just while our teams are getting into it, Nathan, if you just want to just talk more about yourself and I guess your experience with how, I guess using Minecraft to help you with your career choices and going forward with that.
Well, Minecraft has been around now for more than 10 years. And so those of us that got into it at quite the early time now have great experience with it, and I'm seeing some of our competitors that weren't alive when I started using Minecraft, and so it's quite interesting how much this game has progressed. And in terms of how it's helped me, I come from a more architectural background, and so the ability to build things without the need to worry about gravity or lack of blocks is quite great as an output for creativity. Whereas with the likes of Lego, I always found a cap with the money. My parents didn't have millions of dollars. Minecraft is a one-off payment and all the blocks you could want. And even now I use it as a creative exercise, and I suspect I'll continue to do so for many years more. We quite clearly again have different styled hulls from the two teams, even from the colour of the woods. It's interesting how we keep rotating between the orange acacia and the darker oak and the slightly lighter spruce.
It's either one or the other, isn't it? They're not really picking the same colour each, you know, they're trying to be unique with their placements, so yeah.
I don't think yet we have had two teams building next to each other that use the same wood type. It's almost like they organised it.
Definitely. It's almost like they're like, no, I'm using the darker block this round, and you can use the lighter one.
You know, paper, scissors, rock before they start.
Yeah.
But we can see, though, that it doesn't mean they're limited to a one block type at all. And actually, in fact, the use of multiple blocks is something now almost every team's getting involved in. It's just that base they start from. And there's just clearly a preference from each team. It'd be really interesting to know whether they did it discussed as a team beforehand, hey, let's go for the dark one, whether there's just lead in there that decides. And that's something that's really interesting about our strategy and communication categories for marking, because quite clearly there is both of those elements in these teams' build. So you'd see a hodgepodge of blocks all over the show.
There's definitely a refreshing vibe in the room now. As our tauira have come back after morning tea, full of energy. You know, it's the beauty of our kai. I guess a shout out to Impact Ed for catering to our competitors today as well. Putting some kai on, giving them some good, healthy kai, some chicken sandwiches, a bit of fruit in there, you know. It's definitely what you need on your journey, making a waka, or at least on a waka, voyaging through the Pacific, which this whole event is based around.
Yeah, if they had 10 square on their waka, I reckon they would have gone to Antarctica. It's half your time, teams. 5 minutes to go.
So we're just over halfway into the first build here. And it's starting to see the shape of the waka coming through. I'm quite a fan of the darker choice, should I say.
I think the clearer they can define that shape, the sort of more it sets it apart from the other waka, and those curved prows really are a point of difference. If I had this sort of energy while doing my projects, then I think I'd get them done quite quickly as well.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing a sail coming up here off the mast.
Well, a different colour choice from that quite hard white, more grey there. Perhaps more akin to the sort of linens they used for sails back 800 years ago, would you reckon?
Yeah. It's a bit different to Minecraft blocks, obviously. They would have woven some form of netting or something out of flax for their sails.
Of course, half the challenge is getting blocks to look like a different material.
Yeah.
And so, although all the teams are relying on wood for the hull of their waka, if they went in with another block that looked like wood, that's also a viable option. And it's kind of the beauty of the game is you can do whatever you want and get the same effect.
There is non-stop cheering coming from our tauira in the crowd today. So, they're definitely excited seeing their friends compete. The support is unreal between the schools. That even though they are, competing for the same prize of trying to win this event, that the support is still coming through from everyone.
quite some bragging rights in being the first team to win a speed building event in Christchurch.
Well, you know, we did see a few power plays coming through from Morton earlier, coming out with the, you know, as you were explaining, using the gravity in Minecraft to create waves. We'll see a pan of that later on for those who are watching from home.
That redstone was something else. Requires an intimate knowledge of the game. Two very strong hull shapes from the two teams.
Yeah, there's not so much focus on the flora and fauna, should I say, in these builds just yet. They're just, you know, setting the scene with their waka first and foremost. You know, they might get to a bit of foreshore and seabed afterwards.
Yes, well, the waka shape, of course, is the most important part of the build, as that is primarily what they're getting marked on. So it's nice to see some very heavy focus on it from these two teams. I think keeping both the hulls hollow as well is quite an important move. I know my first instinct would be to cover it up and make a solid deck, but of course that's not how these waka are designed.
Well, they definitely needed, you know, traditionally they would have been carved out. They wouldn't have had the lashings correctly to, you know, completely cover those holes in. You know, but there is some waka that had their holes covered over and had a little department, should I say, for provisions and kai and water, or whatever they were traveling with, you know. These waka were used for trade as well. So I was wondering if, you know, maybe the teams could use these for a bit of trade themselves.
You want the one that looks best, so you show up and look like you're in an expensive car.
Yeah.
Make more money with your goods.
What is the Lamborghini of Waka Unua?
We're coming up on 30 seconds left, team. Make sure you get your builds to where you want them to be.
And can we get into the last 10 seconds, Whānau? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just while we're getting these, we're getting Waka Unua and Rauwhiti School off the stage, can we please ask for Darfield High School and Hornby High to prep yourselves on side stage, please.
A little bit of steering capacity there in focus. An armour stand standing in front of what looks almost to be like a wheel.
I'm really loving the detail of Rauwhiti's Waka Unua here. They got little footholds and stuff on the deck of their waka, and then the detail on the mast too, on the sails. Sorry, maybe it's to depict the wind going by. Here we've got this is Waka Unua and their Waka Unua. So their Waka Unua is Māori for the double-hulled canoe which they are making. But they've opted for this darker style of textile. And yeah. So we did have a question from a couple of the competitors today. One of them was, can we use our own custom keybinds? We said, sure thing, as long as you reset them once you're done. So, you know, we're not trying to limit the creativity of our tauira coming in to compete today, but enable them to come through with what they're up to.
Yes, I think you know that they mean business if they come along and want to change the keyboard settings.
You know, I did see a couple of students in the audience coming in with their own keyboards and mouses, so, you know, it's all provided already. So, you know, just to keep it as a level platform, you got to use the tech provided.
Certainly. Otherwise, you'd have students coming along with custom commands and all sorts of carry on. Put them on an equal playing field and see what they can produce. That is the name of the game. I'd like to take a moment to commend the dancing Steve on screen.
Still the last minute check-in here. Making sure everyone's sorted. So this is our last round, I guess, of the first half. And then we'll be heading into the second half where Atoda will be given another 10 minutes to complete their waka unua.
Yes, this is the chance for the teams who went earlier on to adapt what they have made, to reflect what they have learned watching the other teams. Or just finish their vision.
Yeah. This is art, it's a process.
Let's go. Thumbs up from Henry.
So can we get another round of applause for Darfield High School and Hornby High as we head into our final round of the first half. So we get another countdown whānau in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
As our spectator account flies over the previously built waka to the two remaining spaces, you can see both teams in huddles beginning. I think it's interesting how, as well as the different wood types our teams start with, the directions they build change every time.
I think it's the first one to place a block and just start creating, gets to choose which way the waka is facing. A lot of support for Darfield coming from the audience right now.
Immediately, two very different styles emerging. We can see the stone and grass used to establish a shoreline on one side, whereas the others have leapt straight into the waka.
I've noticed two different strategies if we're headed into these builds. Difference between the teams is some go for the flora, fauna, and the seabed, should I say. Others go straight into making the hull of the waka and letting rip, I guess, on the shape and the size of what their build's going to be. But then there's actually a third option too, where the team has split in half and starting to do their own little projects to creating their final product.
I think absolutely that's a point towards that communication and strategy perspective. If you've got students leaping straight into the shoreline and others into waka, there's obviously some prior communication there as to what they're going to do. And I think the benefit of that really is they're not going to get in each other's way. But it does also come down to the completeness of the waka itself. That's being marked also. So hopefully our shoreline and surrounding environment doesn't take away from that main build too much.
Just leading on you, Nathan, as the Minecraft veteran that you are, in your experience, if you had a team of 4 people, what role would you take in building your waka unua?
Well, it does depend who's on my team. If I was placed amongst those who haven't played before, I suspect I'd take lead on the build, but I wouldn't want to presume. I think something in this particular situation with the waka is that if I had anyone on my team with education or first-hand experience of the waka, of course I'd want to defer creative intent to them. But I think my encyclopedic knowledge of the inventory possibly would come to the fore with block choice. Might have a couple of shortcuts and block uses that others may not.
So you definitely rely on the confidence and your knowledge of gameplay to produce your product. Yeah, I can
Absolutely,
respect
it
that.
makes up for a lack of creativity. Once again, the use of water buckets here very quickly filled the space with water rather than the block appearance of the wool and concrete used. You can see on the white square towards the back, this does quicken making a base for the water there, as you don't need to place as much, but perhaps it has less creative intent in the setting. But it allows more time to focus on the waka, so it's benefits to both.
I think it's just being productive with your time and the use of your resources, and even though there's infinite resources for them to mess around with and utilize, but it's the application in which you use those resources as not to fill your bars up completely, I guess.
Well, you'd also want to rely on your strengths. If we look back towards Hill Morton and the redstone there, I wouldn't want my teammates placing down buckets of water if I knew I could make waves that moved. Of course I'd want to apply that. However, if I knew that I was a great sails builder, then I'd want to get that mast up as quick as possible. And we can definitely see when elements of those emerge. There are some people here that are far more confident with the form and shapes of those curves, and they seem to be the ones you see on the prows and on the sails. Those organic shapes are very difficult to make at this scale with cubes.
One thing we're yet to see, and maybe we'll see it in the second half of today's competition, is Waka Unua traditionally had a giant kind of paddle that hung off the back end of the waka to help steer it. Obviously they did use sails as well, but it wasn't always wind powered. What do you do when there is no wind? You have to use the currents. You're traditionally navigated by the stars, so you're traveling at night time, sleeping by day. I guess at daytime you're just hanging out on the hull.
I definitely think this second half of the competition gives the teams the opportunity to focus on that detail aspect. Obviously, the completeness will come into it as well. Let's get all these main structures done. But that second amount of time will give them the opportunity to focus on detail work. And that's where I expect to see more of that creative use of blocks come out. We're coming up on 4 minutes left, teams.
Got a few animals on the side. Is that Hey from Wana, I believe?
Well, it looks like we're creating the settlement itself on the shoreline there. That's probably the most advanced shoreline we've had thus far.
It's a bit of a wharekai. I did see animals coming out of there. That's just a cupboard of food, really.
Cows are an interesting selection, though, perhaps, for Polynesia.
Respective of our thriving dairy industry in New Zealand.
More modern than traditional, then.
We might see a Waka Unua in space yet.
And the supporters have far more energy than anyone else in this room has. The chant has been going on for almost 10 minutes.
What's going on here, my bro? Like, I'm a noob to Minecraft. I can openly admit that, but...
What we are seeing is another use of redstone. What we can see at the bottom there is a redstone clock that is sending a repeating signal to the piston. But instead of waves this time, what we have is a slime block launcher, as it is known in the community. So that green block on top of the piston is sticky and bouncy, and it is shooting that boat into the sky every time the boat hits it.
Wowee.
Like a very impressive seesaw. And this is the sort of block use that makes even those that play Minecraft every day somewhat jealous of the skills and abilities. Redstone is one of those challenging aspects of Minecraft that even those that play for years sometimes never touch.
I guess this is how our competitors can, kind of finesse on the competition and show their creativity and knowledge of Minecraft to, really elevate, excuse the pun, their build here.
Well, they're all making the same structure, that waka there, and so there needs to be point of difference, and it will come down to how each team defines and gives an identity to their waka that will separate them. And so absolutely take those strengths, apply them, and make something a bit different.
That's definitely the niche and why these fast builds have become an e-sport. It's being able to use those really intricate, builds using the redstone to bring their contraptions to life, should I say, bring their waka to life in these examples.
Well, of course, Minecraft, the beauty of Minecraft, if you like, is that everyone will make something in a different way. You could get 30 players to build a waka individually, and each would be different just because of the vast variety and array of what they have available. So it's just representative of what makes this game so applicable to so many people and why it's survived more than 10 years.
So we're having a conversation in our morning tea. So what would you say the perks of having Minecraft over a pack of Lego?
Well, you pay for Minecraft once. It has never cost more than a one-off purchase in the 10 years it's been around. Whereas with Lego, you buy one pack of $40 Lego, it will get you a small car, if you're lucky.
And as we can see through this creativity, the options are endless. But we are heading up to our final 10 seconds in just a moment. So we'll get a countdown from 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well done, Darfield and Hornby High.
Hands off the keyboards. Let's give another round of applause.
So that is the end of our first half, should I say, but because we're running a bit late on time, we're going to ask Tamariki School and St. Mark's to just get ready for our second half. So if you can get ready next to the stage, please. That is Tamariki School and St. Mark's. But before we get into our second half, just got a mihi from Annika.
Thank you. We'll do the parcel first. Kia ora, we're loving all the noise that you're making. I'd just like to introduce the beautiful, we're dancing, Janelle Rikiwaka. Who knows Janelle? Who knows Jay? She's from around here, yeah. So Jay is one of our awesome judges today, and we've got a koha here for kaiako, but Jay would love to say a few words first and then we'll get into that.
Hapai. Kia ora. I have been so inspired by how creative and clever you all are today. And I just want to thank you also for how supportive you have been of other teams. I think you should give yourselves a big, massive round of applause for being such good sports and supporting all of the teams up there. Now, in a wee second, I'm going to ask you to give another round of applause, but it's going to have to be double the strength of that with a few woohoos thrown in, because none of you would be here today if it wasn't for your teachers who have supported you in class to learn this and come today. Give them a big clap. You're so lucky to have teachers that understand creativity and the amazingness that is Minecraft. and give you opportunities to learn and grow in this space in your part of your everyday learning. So that's really awesome. So we're going to ask all the kaiako from the following schools to come up. We've got a wee koha for you because you've been so awesome in getting your kids here today. So can we please have a kaiako from Tamariki School? Kia ora. Tēnā koe matua. Over here to Anaka. Kia ora. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. St. Mark's. Kaiako from St. Mark's. Yay, kia ora. Tuahiwi. Have we got a kaiako from Tuahiwi? Yay, tēnā koe matua. Woohoo. Hillmorton High. We've got a kaiako here from Hillmorton. Kia ora. Teachers are the best people, honestly. We're so lucky to have them. Te whānau tahi, kia ora, tēnā koe whaia. St. Thomas, yay, kia ora. Breens, tēnā koe. Kia ora. Casebrook. Come on, keep the applause going. Woohoo! We might have to catch up with our kaiako from Casebrook. Te waka unua. Yay! Rāwhiti School, tēnā koe. Kia ora. Darfield. Yay! And the last big clap, Hornby High School. Woohoo! Thank you. Thanks to all the amazing kaiako for your hard work, your dedication and your support of these amazing creative tamariki. So thank you. That's all we're doing for now? I'm super excited about this last little bit. It's coming down to the wire in the judges' corner over there. Connor, we're all having to deliberate a little bit. So make sure you bring your A game for your last review, okay? Ka pai.
Thanks, Jay. Round of applause for our judges. Paki paki. That's it. Right. Hand back over.
So I believe our next schools are ready to jump into the second half of our Speed Build Challenge. So we can give them a countdown, whānau. You ready? And 10,
9,
8, 7,
6. So this is the opportunity for our teams to focus on those three of those categories: creativity, details, and completeness. This is your chance to finish the build.
Hopefully we do see some completeness, as 10 minutes is not enough time. As we've seen, all our teams are rushing around to try and get their builds complete.
Yeah, it's called speed builds for a reason. But that's not to say that we can't see some wonderful things at the end of this, and it looks like we already have some pretty wonderful stuff.
So, going back to this. Sorry, whānau, we haven't started quite yet. We were going to reset them going into their rebuild here. Had a few technical difficulties, I believe. And we'll do another countdown, but this time from 5. Ka pai whānau. Oh, it's wait up.
Just goes to show that not everything is allowed to run smoothly at a technology-based event. Probably the one advantage Lego has over Minecraft. No technical difficulties.
But I'm just thinking, these kids have only been given 20 minutes today to put a speed build together. So imagine what they could complete in an hour.
Oh, absolutely. And think part of the advantage of the people that go around making these maps is that they don't limit themselves to 20 minutes. That's why it makes it more impressive to see what they can make in this time.
Not everything works all the time, does it?
Like, it wouldn't be worth it without a bit of difficulty, would it? It's not plain sailing, as they say.
The water's not always calm, but you know, there's waves that you must go through when voyaging. 9 minutes?
9 minutes, right. There we go. Yep. Cool.
Kapai, so the teams are off again. Can we get another round of applause for our competitors? So we've got St. Mark's here in the pink, you know, picking up where they left off. You know, we've seen that hay come through right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be my choice of block for the wee cabin there myself, as it kind of gets that textural element in that kind of shows off the patterning you often see in the more traditional style waka.
So everyone seems to be offsetting the sail here just to really showcase, I guess, the angle and the wind, and you know, it's really down to their creativity and how they can show the elements working through a waka. You know, it is a key component of sailing.
And I think you can see right there in the orange, that paddle you were discussing earlier has come into play. I think that detail of there's no wind in Minecraft, so trying to simulate it on the sails is not easy because you've got nothing to rely on, and so you're kind of leaving it up to your own mind. So this is really impressive work. It's also nice to see this triangular sail work, which, as I understand, is probably more faithful to how the waka would actually run.
So they, you know, it was kind of like an open flap, should I say, and they'll tie it down with the end that wasn't to a mast, and that's how they would pull their sail in and navigate using the wind.
Yeah, the only thing I know about sailing is to duck when the boom spins around. So,
funny story. So I've had the privilege of joining Hoturoa Kerr, who does a lot of waka unua sailing in Aotearoa up in the Hauraki Gulf, Auckland. And he's done a lot to revitalise the corridor around our migration here and taking these waka unua back to, through the islands to Tahiti. I believe they went to San Fran with one of their trips. But they sail traditionally. But as you said, you do have to duck and weave past the boom. And myself, on one of my training trips, was nearly knocked overboard by one in the middle of the night. So it's hard to see in the dark. So that's my only excuse.
hey, it's called a boom because that's the sound it makes when it hits you, right?
Definitely.
Can see from our discussion right at the beginning of today about the darkness of that wood, it's now having that wonderful contrast with the sails. And I think it's something that really indicates that block selection was at least a little bit thought through. It also is just a great benefit that you're using two blocks that would quite often be used in real sailing.
Yeah, true. Yeah. We can now see they're starting to move away from the actual waka. They might actually be complete for them, but they're heading into more flora and fauna, creating the environment in which their waka sits.
I think it's absolutely a skill to be able to decide when something is done and move on to another bit of detailing. Otherwise, you end up with something that's half finished, and as we all know, completeness is something that's being marked. So I applaud these teams for working out when the main structures are complete and moving on to the detailing, because it's very important and it will make their builds better and more highly marked in the long run.
So we don't want things half pie over here. We're wanting the full completion. You know, no pressure on our contestants to complete the build, you know, get it done 100%. But, you know, at the end of the day, what's left is left.
People who have hours and hours still don't finish things sometimes, so 20 minutes is quite impressive. But in a way, giving them that time frame means they have to be snappier with their decisions. And I think that's a skill that many, you know, qualified artists don't possess. Bit of lighting at the front of that walker there, so they can at the back, sorry, so they can see where they're going. Maybe the schools of fish passing by in the night.
So the schools have only really been given, you know, over the last 2 weeks or so to research and develop a strategy to create these waka. As we see at the front there, is that the Māori flag off the front?
That there is some banner work.
Yeah.
That requires the participant to get into a particular block called a loom and actually manually colour that from a blank banner. So that is some very precise detail work there. That's amazing. I love the volume both of these sails have. You can see quite clearly in the orange here in Tamarikis where the wind is blowing and how it's filling the sail.
I don't know which atua you would do karakia to help you with your Minecraft build, but I'll definitely be praying to all of them. You know, ho mai te kaha, ke ke panuku, ke tangaroa, taku waka unua.
It's got to be tangaroa, sure. You have 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, students. As I suspected, the details are really coming out in this round of building. I love the use of fence posts by both teams to make that little details, to give that little bit of permeability into the builds. It makes it more defined from just square blocks, just groups of square blocks, which is definitely everyone's starting point. It's kind of like they've gotten out their smaller brush and are doing the details that way.
Now these are very modern waka unua, as we can tell by the little huts that they've built in the centre, that is nowadays used as a bit of a wharekai, a place to stay out of the weather, you know, the rough seas of the Pacific. You know, you get bashed around in a bit, and it's a lot easier to get pushed overboard, should I say, if you did not have a hut.
Hey, look, if I was travelling from Tahiti to Aotearoa with no hut, I would be red as a lobster by the time I got here.
Be a bit miserable trying to hold onto a rope with sunburned hands, am I right?
Yeah, my strength are in my gaming fingers, not in not my biceps.
Nothing like a callous WASD.
We're coming up on 1 minute, teams.
Our last minute for our first round of the second half.
I love how right now we're viewing barrels being used in the middle of that waka there. Barrels in the very literal sense, being able to store objects in Minecraft when you're playing, but also here indicates a bit of storage while traveling.
Maybe this waka unua is heading over to the Mutton Bird Islands to collect their birds for the season, but we can see we've got a couple of pigs in there.
A couple of kunikunis.
Oh, this will come along beautifully.
Those sails are looking beautiful.
We should really have a before and after of it being barren to being created now.
There's a bit of a Southern Cross above that one there. Look at that.
Are they doing what I think I'm doing? And we're coming to our last 10 seconds, whānau, and 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ka pai.
And that is it, teams. Well done.
Okay, so we're going to do the after. Ka pai, can I get the next two schools, Tuahiwi and Hillmorton High, to wait on the side stage again, please? Now, Hillmorton High is one to watch here as they came out, taking their place, laying down the Wero, a bit of a challenge to other competitors here as they just came out with literally crashing waves on one of their, what's it called?
Redstone.
Redstone.
The Redstone contraption, which got quite a reaction from the audience.
It was, our first of the day to see these creativities happen.
Be interesting to see whether they decide to continue these contraptions and whether or not it will crash the server. Well done to both Tamariki and St. Martin's. St. Mark's.
Ka pai, just while these teams are getting ready, again, like to thank our sponsors from Matauranga and Sir Ian Taylor, to Microsoft for providing the platform, to Harvey Norman for providing our prizes, the Ministry of Education for their support, Playtech for the technology that has enabled the competition today, through to Impact Ed and Annika and the team for looking after us and coordinating everything that's been happening today. So kia ora Annika, mō mahi. Lastly, to the backing crew, to Victory Up, we've got Ngati there in the red flannel manning the stage, looking after our competitors as they jump on. We've got Marcus behind the scenes from Digital Natives Academy doing the broadcasting end, and we've got Pridelands sneaking around, and Te Pī ki te Tanewha doing security. So big shout out to Ngati Gaming. Also a quick mihi to our judges, Janelle, Connor, and the bro Nathan to my right. You can't see me right now, it's all right. And again to the Christchurch City Libraries, to Danny and Robbie for putting this together.
And even special thanks to Robbie for this spectator view that we've been watching this entire time.
Ka pai, I think we are ready to go, whānau. If we can give Tuahiwi and Hillmorton High another countdown, please. So from 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's going to be awesome to see what happens on the second half of the bill. I was so impressed by how the first half went. It's blown away.
I think at this stage, Hillmorton's waka is the highest in the air of any of them. A bit of wave action happened beneath it there. Look at that. Someone has left, a snapper. Several snapper flopping around the build pad.
Also, a special mention to our little Minecraft Michael Jackson there dancing on the overlay. He's been going hard all day.
Looks like we're getting some volume in the waves here.
I'm really liking the detail on these sails. You know, it's very unique style, very different to everyone else. No one has, you know, they were the second group up today. No one's tried to copy one another on their builds. Every waka has been unique. I guess that's going to be the finer details in which our judge panel will have to decide for. It's very difficult decisions.
We can see immediately a second mast going in on both waka. Is that a cloud we're getting at the top there, Mortons?
There's something going up there in this cloud right now.
Getting a bit of ambient weather in there to complete the scene.
Welcome to the South Island, where it rains all the time.
Only on one coast, the other coast doesn't get any at all. You can see, as our spectator account rides around, those two Pahutakawa trees keep popping out of view. That is because these are considered entities for the purpose of this game, and as such keep unloading from the screen. It's probably the one drawback from using this pack that has been installed for us. That's a big wave coming in on the right there.
Nothing like a rogue wave to disrupt your waka unua, but that is the purpose of why there are two holes to our waka to, you know, enable these vessels to travel such a long distance through the, you know, Te Moana Nui a Kiwa, the Pacific Ocean. You know, that's, you know, being flexible. You know, you need your waka to be flexible to jump over these waves.
So it's a bit of narrative storytelling going on there, showing the wave coming in and the fact that the waka's still upright.
I mean, it's you know, it's to the success of the builders, the ones who lash that waka together by hand.
It's kind of the team indicating that yes, our waka can take this wave.
We're not scared of this wave because our waka is correctly bound. He waka kōtuia, he kore nei wawahi. That's a proverbial saying that if your waka is correctly bound, it'll never fall apart.
They're putting it to the test here.
Hopefully that doesn't crash in and take out the rest of the waka in the area. Or maybe that's their hope. A bit of durability testing.
I'll tell you what, if we come back in a couple of hours' time and that waka is bits of flotsam, there might be trouble.
Well, we you know, they've fully taken advantage of these plants here too. You know, having been the second group up today, letting those the wildlife come blossom, should I say?
Once again, we're seeing here a detail of a flag on the front there, making use of those banners again. This is the teams kind of flexing their muscles, showing that they understand the game well enough to know how these systems work. Once again, not something that every Minecraft player knows.
So how would you learn how to place redstone and make all these contraptions on flies? Just for our whānau maybe watching it online, or those who have maybe never seen this before, like myself, what's your best, you know,
YouTube.
go to? YouTube?
YouTube by far. There are many, many tutorials on how to do redstone on YouTube. You can try and understand it yourself, but it's not the most intuitive. Interestingly enough, the most recent Java update of Minecraft introduced a structure into the world called the Ancient City this city actually has rooms in it which demonstrate a working understanding of redstone. So Microsoft is going that way. They are beginning to show in-game how to understand redstone contraptions, but for most of us, it's either trial and error or it's watching YouTube. Most often, it's both.
One of our students did mention today that, there is one content creator who has sadly passed away. His name's Technoblade. He was massive for the Minecraft community. So I guess, as it's timed with Matariki, if you are not too sure of our Matariki stories, it is the time in which we remember those who have passed over the last year and let them move on into the afterlife. So to Technoblade for looking after your community, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe. The teams have 3.5 minutes left.
Feels like they've finished with their flora and fauna and their waka, so they're heading on to more elegant creativity builds here.
Yes, that tsunami is incredibly elegant. It's just the small touches, the little dots of land on the side with the sand, not taking away from the waka, but kind of setting it in scene. I really like how we have this team with the curved prow there. Looks quite distinct from the other curved prows we've seen.
Yeah, they've made it a bit wider. They're not just done I even say there's like three times as wide as the other ones. Everyone's kind of opted for one or two, kind of curving it up on different angles, obviously. But yeah, it does definitely make their waka unique. I actually like the simplicity. It sets it in scene. Having that whenua, that ground on the corners, makes you want me, see the wider environment around this waka and what is happening inland to prepare for this tsunami.
It's quite a bit more aerodynamic as well. You get the impression it would really slide across the waves.
Maybe it's a tactical move. They're going to ride this tsunami over the land.
I'd like to see the sails hold up though.
We're getting very close to our last minute here, whānau. It's amazing to see how far these waka have progressed. Just a reminder that this is only 20 minutes of a build, and for something of this to come out of the metaphorical woodworks, let us say, it's amazing.
It's all remarkable work with the time they have.
Is that wave just getting bigger?
Well, there's one coming in from the other side now. I'm quite concerned about the waka's welfare. We're closing in 30 seconds to go, teams.
Maybe this waka has actually just crashed off a giant wave and has plummeted in between and created its own waves on either side.
I like to think it's impacted very heavily. It's made the waves. Yeah. It parts the sea because of how aerodynamic it is.
I named this waka Wave Rider.
Let's get a 10-second countdown from everyone. 10, 9,
8, 7,
3, 2, 1. Hands off the keyboards.
How fast can you run, Robbie? That was wicked.
Let's give a huge hand for our two teams who have finished their builds.
No, I'm pretty excited to see the rest of this second half. But if I can ask, for Te Kura Kaupapa Māori, Te Whānau Tahi and St. Thomas to wait side stage. Before we get started, I just wanted to hand over to Connor from Microsoft. Have we recorded him?
Kia ora, everyone. You guys have been so amazing. I'd like you guys to give Connor from Microsoft a warm ōtautahi welcome, please. Yeah, nice. So Connor, massive thank you to you for all of the swag. Who's got some swag? Who's been getting prizes? Yeah, lots given out. Connor literally came on the plane with the biggest bag of swag I've seen in my life. So thank you, Connor. He's come down from Auckland this morning just to be here and judge and support you guys. So I'll hand over to Connor to say a few words. Big round of applause.
Cool. Kia ora, everybody. Thank you for that, Annika. So my name is Connor McCall, and I, like Annika said, I work for Microsoft, and my role there is the Learning Delivery Specialist for New Zealand. So I have the really unique opportunity to work with teachers and students up and down the country, supporting them with all of the Microsoft products, and Minecraft being one of them. So prior to this role, I was a classroom teacher myself. I've been a teacher for the past 10 years, and then I just recently stepped into this role with Microsoft. So teachers, I know how hard it has probably been to try and get the resources, the time, to get a team here, get your students engaged, and come along and give this a crack. So teachers, hats off to you. Students, I can't tell you how lucky you guys are. When I was at school, this was a dream for me. To be able to do something like this was a dream. And you guys are so lucky. You're at a time in your lives and a unique opportunity where, these kinds of jobs and these kinds of things, this is a viable, career path for those people. So if you have a passion for technology, whether it's the gaming or whether it's, broadcasting or being a cameraman or anything within the technology sector, there is a huge amount of opportunities for you guys, and they're only getting bigger. There's jobs. That's quite intimidating. He's staring at me. There's so many jobs for you guys. So I guess if I can say one thing, just find your passion, no matter what it is. If it's technology, go and pursue it. There are so many career opportunities for you guys. But again, I'm super pumped to be here. And I think these guys are ready to get into it. So let's give teachers another big round of applause. So well done, teachers. All right. Let's get into it.
If we can get a countdown from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're off. As our spectator makes their ways through all the waka we have, we come and focus on the acacia boat that we mentioned before for its bright colour compared to the other waka.
I think the fastest thing I've seen in all these builds is Robbie heading back to hit the reset button. But just special thank you to Robbie for providing our view here and being a spectator, so we can see our competitors creating their waka unua.
Because the one difficulty with speed builds is if we focus on the student's perspective, it would be mildly manic because they've got so much to do. It'd really be a credit to them the faster they move, and so for that reason, it's wonderful to watch a more detached perspective.
So as a spectator, viewing in right now, you might see them just stand still for a second, for a couple of seconds, and that's just them doing inventory management.
really, and just getting the resources that they do need, pulling it and compiling it from a giant. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in the inventory.
Yeah. It's quite a skill being able to select. Although there is a search bar, that requires you to know what you're looking for. So for all this detail work that each of our teams are doing, they are having to stop and go and scroll through hundreds of blocks. And so for those at home that don't play Minecraft, they're missing one of the most tedious parts of it. And tedium in a speed build is not really something you want. So this inventory management is actually really important. Not something you consider if you're looking at just looks.
So if you are wanting to do any future Minecraft tournaments or compete, take the time to get to know your inventory well. Take the time to be able to hit that search bar and look exactly get exactly what you're looking for, and then it's all down to the micromanagement, really.
Absolutely, and it's been a bugbear for many Minecrafters how poor the inventory is, and so that just goes to show how much these kids are on top of it, how much these participants know what they're doing. If you get adults complaining about this sort of thing, and these guys are like, psh,
yeah, we're having on the setup last night, we're having a bit of a tutu. We could barely bust out a few blocks to create a box, let alone what these kids are getting into today. So it's really a credit to them being like Maui, being a bit of a tutu, being able to jump into
adapt
these tools, and adapt. Exactly that. Oh, we've got some water coming through now.
I'm liking all the sea foam we got going on here, but it doesn't bode well for the safety of the ship if it's that uneven.
And that's why we're double-hulled canoes.
You can see here once again the use of slabs and that lighter wood at the bottom of the waka that's being used to give levels on the boat. So whereas most blocks are a full block, which are considered by our standards to be 1 metre cubed, those half slabs give you that half dimension to work with. As I've said before, scale's really difficult in this game, and so the fact that it's actually a detriment that they've been given as small a space as they have, because it's much easier to show detail at a larger scale. It makes it that much more impressive when they can advertise what they mean so well. Bit of an unconventional sale coming in here, really selling the team spirit. Is that a koru we can see coming in there? Look at that.
I think, this is some fresh harakeke that's just been cut. Showing off how green it is. But I love the detail and I guess one thing I found last night trying to put a block together, I guess, is how patient you need to be in placing them.
Yeah, it's in of itself, I think it's commendable if you have the patience to build something large in Minecraft. You can think about it in your head, but it's the same as making a cake. Everyone wants to eat cake. Not everyone wants to make cake. We're coming up on the 5-minute mark, team. You guys have 5 minutes left to complete your builds.
Wow, look at this. Are those used as a rope to hold the sails down?
Yeah. I think so. Those are fence posts. Quite a common use for them is to use them as rope, and you can see when they're used in that diagonal-like pattern, they almost come across as rope. And that's the beautiful thing about what these guys are doing in Minecraft, is taking a block that is not its intended purpose and using it to see something that's quite clear. We can quite clearly see that's meant to be a rope, even though in-game it's considered a fence post. And I can see right now that their on-board provisions, their kai, have expanded. We have here not only a little patch of kumara, but also some pig on board. And I must say, I'm getting flashbacks a bit to Moana when they have the chicken on board.
On chicken on board?
There's Mr. Hey.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, hey is the Māori word for chicken. Or in the islands, they like to call them moa, but we obviously don't have moa anymore over here. But yeah, this sail does look a bit like, Moana's sail, actually. She has a koru on her sail.
She does, yeah.
Maybe it is a direct reference.
Oh, even more enlightened than we are. That is to say that we're not necessarily the experts. Look at how much these guys can get done. I'd almost not want to be in there with them. I'd look pretty embarrassed by comparison.
Yeah, just a little bit of FOMO as you have to watch our competitors today. But again, these are some creative minds putting to work what some of them have only been studying for a week or two.
Oh, look, I think it's fair to say that as much as you don't want to be missing out in this situation, you also want to be shown up. And I think a lot of these are going to show us up.
We just reached our, these 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes left. It'll come down to the nitty gritty here. And the pressure is on. It's just their last opportunity to put blocks together.
We see here the koru they've tried to make it ripple with the wind and the sail. Itself a very difficult feat. We've remarked how getting the sail to ripple is difficult. Now they're trying to make a shape within the sail ripple, but keep its shape. It just sounds very tiring discussing it. And they've done it.
I just saw on Twitch chat there, we've got Dradoc Ultra Mega tuning in. He is the man who created our overlay, so big mihi to you, man, to the bro Dradoc. Tēnā roa atu koe hoa.
You can see the remarkable rope work on the acacia boat here. Waka. Well, it's interesting. I can see on that right hull there some work with dispensers. There's some redstone coming up in there as well. And once again, a wave crashing into the boat. I think these students want to see their boats destroyed, or maybe they're just showing their resilience. Who am I to say?
We've got whānau tahi here. It seems like that they're painting a narrative, should I say. It looks like their waka is kind of on shore, would you say?
Yeah, I think, it's... What's so remarkable about this is that everything is static. Minecraft is very still. So actually getting it dynamic, getting it moving, that's very difficult, and it makes it so much more exciting to look at.
That's definitely what we're seeing here from St. Thomas, the different colour in the water scheme. It kind of shows movement in the water. It sparks our imagination and creativity too, and that's what's coming out from their creations.
The good word there would be evocative.
Evocative, very nice.
We're closing in 45 seconds left, teams. St. Thomas is going on reminding us of which team they are with the letters on the boat. You can see our spectator getting ready to close them out with 15 seconds to go. I hope you're all ready to do a 10-second countdown. Ready?
Robbie's ready.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Look at that, teams, all done. Well done. That is your 20-minute speed build completed. Can we get another round of applause for them?
There's 3 rounds left for our second half to complete our competition.
Oh, look at the crew.
Oh, yes. They've got all of Moana and her whānau on there.
Couple of dragon heads at the front there. That's an interesting use of a block. Look at that.
If I can ask the next 2 schools to prep themselves, that is Breen's Intermediate and Te Kura Mariko Casbrook Intermediate. Wow, that is amazing. I like the detail. It does look like they've just washed up on shore. They got their crew. Walking the plank.
It's very nice to see. In this second round of building, all the teams are embracing the detailing. And guys, it really sells what you're doing and it makes it so much more impressive to the rest of us.
Wow, Oh, okay. Just to let you know that Mariko is a player down. They're going into the second half of their competition, with a 3-man. So it is a 3v4. So we'll see what comes of it. It might make it easy. It might not be getting in each other's way so much. There might be benefits to having a 3-man, unless it's your leader who maybe they're throwing him overboard.
Yes, well, we may see more waves in this one as the descent spreads. Who knows?
So it looks like our teams are ready, Whānau. There's 6 more countdowns to go for today. But another round of applause for Breen's Intermediate and Te Kura Mariko. And we'll count down from 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
1.
And we're back in it. Our spectator account, new cameraman behind.
Danny has taken the reins in the spectator mode. Big mihi to you, Danny.
And immediately we leap into the sail. All this work, all this detailing, water being splashed back and forth. The teams don't care about the border anymore. The water's spilling everywhere.
Is the water splashing on the sail?
I like the look of the palm trees in this one here. Very good use of the jungle wood block, which I'm not sure we've seen elsewhere yet, to get that texture on the palm trees.
You need to be unique to stand out here today. And, it's nice to see our competitors painting the scene. They're not limiting themselves to just the waka unua. They're putting a lot of thought behind the environment that it sits in.
It's remarkable that you can look across each of these waka and there is something defining and different about each of them. Just now, I am looking at the use of pink and purple at the back there. What's that going to come to, I wonder?
It may be a bit of coral floating above the sea. I'm not too sure.
I reckon that's going to be an octopus.
Ooh.
Looks like it's grabbing onto the waka there. That's a remarkable bit of sail work. Look at that. You can see the motion in it as the wind catches it.
Yeah, the wind is rippling through that sail at the speed of this fast build.
And here we can see one of the best textured oceans we have. You can really see the movement in the water there.
They're really putting a lot of detail into, I guess, like the tickle of their waka.
Sounds like our crowd here is getting a bit tired. Can we hear some support for these two teams? That's what we like to hear, guys.
Well, it's really showing the movement of the wind through that sail there. Parting it away from the rest of the mast.
There's a creature rising from the depths.
There's a bit of a wheke going on here.
I tell you what, it's a good thing that walker looks so strong, because I think I'd feel a bit safer on that walker than if it was single hulled.
Single hull, yeah.
That little bit of support there for the balance is really going to help it out in this creature attack.
I mean, this walker may be under attack from this giant, maybe squid or octopus who've got tangling onto it. It reminds me of something out of Trolls, the colour scheme.
It's remarkable. See how the buttons line those masts as we go up. Just that little bit of detailing that you wouldn't notice unless you looked at it. They didn't have to add them on, but they did, and it adds depth to the beams.
And even though Te Kura Mariko is a person down, they seem to be utilising, the three-man combo quite well.
See, we're getting a bit of conventional sail action in there to define them, to set them apart. And look at that. Can we see that redstone clock beneath the hull there doing some work? What's that up to?
I'm not too sure. I was too distracted by the chicken running around on board.
Everyone knows the best place to keep the chicken on board is below deck, eh? That's what they did in Moana.
Yeah, that hey was a bit of a hua.
I'd like to know what sort of conventional waka has electricity running through it like that. It's modern age stuff.
Yeah. Well, the sail here is turned into the Māori flag.
It's remarkable work here from the team. One man down doesn't stop them. Look at that. I like to see there's a bit of coverage over those hay bales there, obviously transporting them, making sure they stay dry, and so they've got trapdoors on top of them there. Another really good use of a thin block. It would look a bit much if we put a full block over that, so they use the trapdoor to keep it together.
Although, in Aotearoa we recognise these waka as being vessels for long sea journeys for Māori, but I guess a mihi to our Polynesian tuakana who also use these waka.
That second sail getting in there for extra speed in the speed build. Teams, you've got 3.5 minutes remaining.
This octopus here is really coming along, isn't it?
Kind of gets scary every time we come back to it. Look at that.
It's like everything's frozen in time. I feel like it's just going to come out and ravage all the waka.
It's an old photograph. This is the fifth ship that didn't make it to Aotearoa.
The missing waka. The lost tribe.
Someone's been watching Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wow, that's awesome.
Now, for those watching, you'll notice that the trees at the edge of the section here stop very sharply. That's because these students actually physically cannot build outside of their boundary, so they aren't just being kind and staying in the space we give them. They are making the most of every single spot they can. It's really to be commended, and it's a different aspect of the build challenge that actually makes it harder.
Yeah, if time wasn't the factor of making things difficulty, limiting the space in which you can use to be creative too.
It's coming down to the wire. We have 1 minute 50 seconds to go, teams. Later, I'll get them to show me what image of a waka they found being attacked by a kraken, because I don't want to go there.
Well, I think our competitors are a bit tougher than a wheke. We have a proverbial saying, kauai mate wheke, mate ururoa, meaning don't die like an octopus, but fight to the end like a hammerhead shark. We are heading into our last minute whānau. Big round of applause for our competitors.
Everyone here is supporting you, and you're all supporting them, and it's wonderful to see you guys.
Aha koa he hoariri ki te atamira, he hoa tonu koutou. Even though you guys are competitors on stage, you guys are still friends and being super supportive of one another. So, thank you. We're coming down to our last 20 seconds, whānau.
And as we sprint for the reset button, we're going to get you all to do a countdown. Are you ready? 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hands off the keyboards, let's go.
Ka pai whānau, so we won't be getting into the next schools. We're going to have a break for lunch. It's going to be a short lunch as we need to get through a couple more rounds before one of our schools do have to leave early. So just to let you know that there's a few snacks, some kai for our competitors. So if you are competing, sorry to everyone else, I hope you brought your own lunch. And if you didn't, I could probably sneak you an apple or two. But yeah, we're just going to have a break for lunch. Ka pai. See you in 15 to 20 minutes. Who likes free stuff? No. When I say who likes free stuff, you've got to say, I like free stuff. Ka pai? Ready? Are you ready? Who likes free stuff? Ka pai. So, get ready. It's going to be first one to come up to answer these. And if you're wrong, I'm sorry, that's it. You get one shot only to answer it. Ka pai? Just to keep it fair. Now we're going to have 2 questions each to you fellas, and got a few things to give away. And it's going to be random, and you get to pick a number between 1 and 4. I'm just going to pick it for you. Ka pai? So my first question is, what is Matauranga? So who's coming up? I don't see anyone over here. Who's... Ka pai?
Isn't it like a competition like hosted by Ian Taylor?
You're not wrong, but what I'm looking for is the definition of what Matauranga is. Ka pai? Sorry. Yeah, ka pai. Yep.
Knowledge.
Ka pai. Pick a number between 1 and 4.
3.
Ka pai. Kia ora.
So tell you what, just so you don't all trip over each other running at me, we'll select a hand this time instead. All right? So
it's competitive.
This is a Minecraft question. What are the main dimensions of Minecraft? Well done.
Couldn't pick a number.
What number?
Number 1.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Are you ready? I'm going to ask another question before we get into the question. Who likes free stuff? I'll try it again. Who likes free stuff? Ka pai, kia ora. So our next question is, our teams have been building some sort of vessel. What is the Māori name of this vessel? Ka pai. 2?
This is the final question. It's another Minecraft question. Should it be really hard? All right. I'm going to pick someone to answer this question after I ask it, and they're going to walk up here and they're going to say it into the microphone. All right? So the question is, what are 3 ore types in Minecraft? You there with the brown mask?
With the brown mask?
With the brown mask, sorry. Now, there are more than 3, but I'll just get you to answer 3.
Iron, diamond, and gold.
Well done. Look at that.
Ka pai. Last question. Who likes free stuff? Ka pai. So this stuff isn't free. It's given by someone. So we need to do a mihi to Harvey Norman and Impact Ed for providing all our prizes today. So I think everyone who competed gets something. Ka pai. So to our competitors, big round of applause. And the next school's coming up. Next builds.
Right.
Ka pai. What schools do we have left? Sorry, I just got to find my list.
Is it Darfields?
Yeah, so we've got Te Waka Unua and Rāwhiti School. If you can please go side stage, please.
Let's get the applause.
Yeah. Well, no. He did say that, but then I went, but then the kids behind us, we wouldn't see their arms go up, so we wouldn't be able to.
Ka pai. We're getting into the last 2 rounds, so there's just 20 minutes left, whānau. How awesome do those waka look? Honestly. You guys have done so well.
You should be cheering for your own. You should think your own looks pretty good. How cool are those waka?
I just want to do a special shout out to the wee Minecraft man who's been dancing all day on the overlay. Good to go. Ka pai whānau, there's 4 countdowns left. Who likes countdowns? Oh, I'll ask it again. Who likes countdowns? Kia ora. So, starting from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4.
So in our second last round for today, whānau, is Te Waka Unua in Rāwhiti School.
A shout out again to those details, because that is one of the categories our judges are looking at. So far, we have seen Māori flags, we have seen korus, we have seen giant monsters and giant waves. What will we see now?
We have seen waves crashing and little fishies.
Looks like the beginnings of a dark, dark ocean on yellows.
So as we were saying earlier, you know, the teams either choose to go straight into building their waka or planning out the flora fauna, or a bit of both. So for this one, we're seeing those smaller details coming through. You know, water seems to be the element of choice today. But what, you know, something creative on my end would have been, I would have liked to have seen the waka being created in the bush, maybe. Maybe.
Yes, one would question how it got there.
So Waka Unua is with the blue outline. It's hard to see when it's in the water, right? And Rāwhiti with yellow.
So every single team has a different sail, or a different set of sails at this point. What's happening over here in blue? Looks like a second structure is being built. I wonder what it is. Out of spruce wood, which is slightly lighter in colour than dark oak.
Is that a wee diving board? Is that a diving board?
It's a wharf, maybe. And here again we see hay bales being used for the cabin. No land in sight for this waka. It's obviously out in the middle of the ocean and needs the cabin. It's a use of farmland there as that soil element on the top there. Obviously looking at planting some crops for the long journey. And someone performing Titanic at the front of the ship.
It's just a bit of a reenactment from Titanic, is it?
It's not yet have we had a repeated colour in the sails apart from white, and right here we have a purple sail. Wonderful use of fence posts again. Oh, we've got a bit of white used as a wake behind the boat here. It's the first time we've seen that like this. A bit of fishing going on for the passengers of the Waka, getting some kai for their trip. We are at the 5-minute mark. You have 5 minutes remaining. And here at Te Waka Unawa, we have bits of coral as the waka flows through a reef.
That purple really stands out in the water, doesn't it? Some Waka Unua, navigators would have spotters on the front. So I think that's some of those waka with the people at the front and on the sides of the waka, having those spotters help navigate through coral or through rocks in those tight coastal environments.
And what we're seeing here now in the use of coral is coral outside of the water dying and turning grey. It's a little bit of Minecraft trivia for you all. We can really see the second round compared to the first, how much detail is being added both to the waka and to the water around it.
So the first half is really just laying down your foundations, and then second half has been more detailed, getting into the nitty gritty, I guess, of making your waka come to life. In this
Icing the
environment.
cake.
Making the cake. And we just have to sit by patiently and watch it bake.
No oven time for these waka, fortunately. We have just passed the 3-minute remaining mark. Time to get your last bit of energy in there, teams. Look at the livestock on the back of the Rafiti boat. Waka.
So I believe that purple and white sail is to represent their school colours.
Is that right? Hmm. I'd also like to appreciate that one of the students took the time to put a dragon head on before continuing. You can see the fences once again being used to great effect on that left-hand side there. It gives it that permeability, that lack of structure. Makes it seem lighter on the water.
We have some traditional lanterns, I believe. Some traditional lanterns. Oh, nothing like some puaka or a bit of roast pork.
Roasted by the sunlight. Nice to see access onto that walker as well, having the ladder up the side there. It means if you go overboard, you can get back on. That's always helpful.
I never thought pixels would make me hungry. Oh, those pork have been strategically placed in the hut. They can still get some oxygen and sunlight.
It's not so much salted pork at that stage.
Yeah, we might have to go for a swim.
1 minute remaining, teams. The deep contrasting colours from these two waka really show the different personalities of each team.
Do we have more prizes? I know a whole bunch of girls got Microsoft.
As we get close to the end of this round, I am looking for a 10-second countdown. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
3, 2, 1.
Hands off the keyboards. You are all done.
Hapua. Can we get our last remaining high schools to go side stage? So that is Darfield High School and Hornby High.
Big round of applause for these two teams who've just finished.
Honestly, can't believe this world was barren. I can't actually picture without all these waka. Imagine if these 12 waka were heading out as a fleet.
I think for certain that this is a vast improvement on what we've seen before, but the structure of the world around it's so amazing. A perfect picture frame to the picture inside. See a little hut here in Te Waka Unua.
They have stolen all 10 of Mahuika's fingers to light lanterns on their waka.
Maui would be proud.
And here's their, putting their school colours to use on their sail.
Coming into the last 10 minutes of speed building of the day. I hope we are all ready.
Look at that. So cool.
Kapai. Big round of applause, not just for the schools in this last round, but for everyone who's competed today. We've got our second to last countdown. Starting at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The last 10 minutes of building for today. Loving to hear the support, everyone. On the left, those slime block launchers shooting boats into the air. I wonder what will become of that. On the right-hand side, Darfield looks to make More ocean life, it would seem.
They have created a whole environment over here for Hornby.
So it's a different question entirely. Which waka would I rather swim in the ocean around?
If you had to pick one of those environments to live in, I'm picking Hornby.
Probably the one with the most kai in it, eh?
Yeah, one with all the pigs.
Liking to see the storage aboard this boat here, aboard this waka. I know that I can make it far on a long journey in this waka. Look at the amount of fish on the right there.
It's just like they've pulled into a wee cove.
It's a rock pool.
A rock pool.
Loving to see the H on the sail, representing your school. And here we can see a statue, a figure not just on board as crew, but dressed in golden armor.
You know, you gotta dress good to feel good, right?
I wish I had the money they did. Oh. So we can see this line of observers being placed here, also a redstone component, also a circuit. I wonder what it is going to do. That might crash the server.
Yeah.
Yeah. They might be trying to line up everything. Two high sails for Hornby, giving a different look into the sailing lifestyle. Once again, we see a different sail colour coming into play as Darfield places a brown sail.
I'm curious as to what's happening over at Darfield there.
So those observer blocks are used for a redstone output, like in the pistons we have on the other side. They are much quicker and they feed off each other. One of the most confusing components in Minecraft. They may be used for light sources or for pistons, we've yet to see. It might crash the server. As we draw up to the 5-minute mark, I'd like to point out our judges will go back over this stuff in detail and look and see what everyone has done individually. The support for each team still wonderfully strong in the crowd, and we love to see it. 5 minutes remaining.
If only Kai was so accessible as that on Minecraft. If I could spawn in a chicken right here.
Looks like here we have a roast cooking over the fire in that left-hand side.
They decided to bring their umu onto their boat. They brought their whole oven.
Slightly more conventional than traditional, we should say. But a very nice use of blocks, as a roast block does not exist in Minecraft. It's some intelligent use of a nether wood there.
I don't know if traditionally we had hangi kai cookers.
Couldn't dig the pits on the boat.
We filled a hole with dirt.
Nice to see all the dolphins in this here waka area. Perhaps they are leading the waka to shore or to hidden treasure. Bit of weather above guiding the waka. And we're coming up onto 3 minutes remaining for both teams. 3 minutes to go.
That is a big waka. That's a whole darko.
Probably the most closed off cabin we have on all of them. This is looking at going through some hard hail, some hard snow, and might get out the other side fine. A bit of a crow's nest appearing halfway up on the Hornby one.
A creative sail. I've not seen traditional sails look like this, but it looks two-purpose.
It's creativity that's setting them apart, perhaps. Once again, we have banners, this time in their unchanged form, being used for the colours of the Māori flag. The cobwebs being used for a lighter touch for the sails, almost like the wisps of fabric coming off the end in a high breeze.
If Māori ever travelled to the Caribbean, this is how I'd imagine their waka would end up looking.
Is that Pirates of the Caribbean? 1 minute remaining.
Coming into our last 30 seconds, whānau.
This is where your creativity comes out. This is the final chance to get those details in to wow the judges. This is it.
And our final countdown starting from 10,
9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hapua.
That is it, everyone. Let's have a huge round of applause for everyone.
Now, that is not the end of the festivities for today. There is one final challenge, and it is the Spleef Challenge that Nathan has created. So we're talking about cakes, and cakes have layers. So if you want to explain what Spleef is for our audience that don't know what that is, yeah.
So I suspect a lot of our students here are aware, but the objective of the Spleef tournament is you will have 3 platforms in this new world we will get you into. You will be given a shovel. You are not allowed to hit the other players, and your objective is to dig the floor from under them and be the last one standing. Now you can choose to work in teams with your friends, or you can choose to make them sink down as well.
Just a reminder that, it is last person standing. So if you do work as a team to start, you might have to fight your friend at the end. So we're just going to have a 10-minute break now so our judges can finalize and do a collation. And then we'll do doing prize giving. Hapua. See you in 10. I'm just going to, another mihi to our judges. We had Connor from Microsoft. We had Janelle, coming straight out of Manu Kōrero. And the bro Nathan and myself, I guess. Yeah, kia ora. Can we get you to come up? So Janelle's just going to run through what it was that the judges were looking for exactly to give you these awards. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Kia ora. This was really tricky. I actually felt like New Zealand Idol judge right then. It's very tricky because everybody was amazing in all different kinds of ways. I want to, I guess, just start off by saying there was so much creativity. We did start by looking at the waka haurua. So the task was to design a waka haurua. Lots of you put a lot of time and energy and creativity into things in the water and in the sky and on the side, but we started off looking at the waka because that was the initial task. We were scoring points, and you can see the scribbles all over my paper for creativity. So who was using lots of creative choices in design, detail. There was lots of you that had lots of really fine detail, and also some detail that you couldn't see, which was cleverly hidden. How complete you got through, did you manage to complete what you were trying to achieve? How well you communicated with each other? Did you have a strategy? Were you talking about the strategy? That's why a few of us were walking behind you. We were listening to you talk to each other about your strategy. So they were the things we marked you on. It was amazing to watch and to be engaged in. And we've got some key awards that we're going to award. Now, I think we all know that this was extremely difficult because of how clever everyone was. So we're just going to really celebrate each and every winner today, okay? So make a lot of noise, because really, this is a cool day to have as a school day, right? So let's just be really happy for whoever won. Okay, our first award is for collaboration, the team that we felt really, really collaborated well, worked together really well, and this team was a standout, we all agreed. So congratulations, St. Mark's. Stand up, come on. There. Okay, I want to make a special mention. Out of all of the shape and design of the waka haurua, yours was the very best, St. Mark's, in my opinion. So well done. It was a beautiful waka haurua. Congratulations. We'll get a wee photo. If you can come and stand over here once you've got you can hold your certificate up. Are they? Yeah. Ka pai. Ka pai. Congratulations, St. Mark's. That's awesome. Okay, creativity. This one was the hardest because every single team was hugely creative. So to try and pick one that was more creative than the other was very difficult. But we certainly had a look at some of the technical use of Minecraft. I didn't, because I'm not that good at Minecraft. These clever people looked at the technical use of Minecraft. And there were a couple of things that stood out in this particular team. So congratulations, Hillmorton High School. I think we all would have noticed this group's moving water. Now, from what I understand, that's very difficult to do in Minecraft. Who was the clever person who did the move? Wow. Well done, mate. All of you did it. Wow. The other thing that we noticed, this group found somewhere in the depths of Minecraft the pohutakawa tree, didn't you? Yay! Ka pai. Well done, Hillmorton. Okay, this team is actually getting this next award because they were so brave and so bold and so amazing. Everybody in this room is in year 7 or 8, except for one team who are aged year 7 or age 7 or 8. They competed against people nearly double their age, did so well. Congratulations. The award for leadership goes to Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Te Whānau Tahi. Yay, and you're going to eneke tū mai ki te whakahua. How cool is this? Age 7 and 8-year-olds against all of you very big kids in their eyes. We're very proud of you. It's all about competing, and they did a great job on their wakahaurua. E mihi ana. Ka pai. Sportsmanship. Sportsmanship was something that all of us were looking at all day. We were watching people, not just behind when you were in here in build mode, but while you were sitting in the audience, how encouraging and supportive you were. There was one particular school that really stood out. Everybody has been a good sports today, by the way. One particular school was particularly loud in their support for other kura. So our sportsmanship award goes to Te Waka Unua. Ka pai. Yeah. Awesome. Ka pai te waka unua. Okay, really tricky, but we are going to tell you who the overall champion was. There were so many things that we took into consideration, just reminding you, first of all, we actually had a look at the wakahaurua and the shape of it and how it was designed. Was it practical? Would I want to travel across the Pacific Ocean on that waka? That was one of the questions I asked myself as we were looking at them. Creativity, detail, the way the team worked together, all of those kinds of things come into the equation when we look at the overall winner. The team that is going to be named the overall winner had an amazing wakahaurua. The shape was fantastic, all the things that I would want for a long journey. They also had a tino rangatiratanga flag. They had some leashes and some ropes, which technically were very difficult. Leashes? Is that what they're called? Apparently, not leashes like, but really technically hard and to do in Minecraft. I understand there was fishing nets, which is going to come in handy for a long journey. So congratulations to Kura o Mariko, overall champions. Give them a massive, massive ka pai. Not only are they overall champs, They actually did this one person down. So their second round for their 10 minutes, they were a whole person down. And as you can see, there is some pretty impressive things in here. You have to get the right angle, but that's a Tino Rangatiratanga flag, which I think is pretty special. They've got those little lashings. Apparently they're very difficult to do technically. And the fishing nets into the water. Congratulations to all three of you. You did a fantastic job. Sorry? Is it? Maybe we have a jewel winner then, because we're not going to take it away from you. Come up here, Brains Intermediate. You stay right up here. It is. That's all right. Give them a big round of applause. Okay. If there was a Dork of the Day award, it would go to the judges. All right? So all we have, so that we can't pick anybody that we know, all we have is the colours. So all we could go through is the purple colour or the green colour. And it looks like we wrote the wrong school next to the wrong one. But that's okay, because Casebrook, you're still going to stay up here as a winner. We would never make you sit down. They still had a whole man down, and their design was pretty impressive. You can see it's right next door to Breenz's. There you go. Congratulations, Breens. We've got dual first equal winners here. Okay. So the wakahodu are amazing. The rangatiratanga flag, the fishing nets, all very amazing. Congratulations, Brains. Let's scoot over and look at Te Kurero Māori calls, though. Can we do that as well? Because that's why we got it mixed up. We had them right next to each other as being equally as amazing. Fishing nets. And you can see the Tino Rangatiratanga flag that you've started to do on the front as well. See how we got them mixed up? It's not my fault, whānau. And you've got people. And is that an octopus? Yeah. Like a giant killer octopus?
We based it off the story of them chasing octopus.
Oh, you did. The wheke, finding Aotearoa New Zealand being dragged on a sea. Brilliant. Congratulations to both of you schools. We'll get you another certificate, okay? And we'll send it out to you. Ka whai. Awesome. Oh, come in for a photo. Awesome. One massive big round of applause for all the teams who participated today. Ka pai.
Looks like that doesn't only happen at Miss Universe competitions, right? Kia ora. Just a few words from me. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa. He tino pārawa atu tēnei rā. We've all had an awesome day today. Yeah. Ki te kai whakakawa, tēnā koutou. Thank you very much to our judges today. Round of applause to our judges. Ki te whānau o eSports, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you very much to our eSports whānau. You guys have been amazing. It's been a really epic day. Thank you so much for bringing all of this down to Ototahi for us to be part of. We really appreciate that. Ho mai te Pakipaki. One last round of applause for them. So I have a koha for our judges today to say a very special thank you. And I do have to do a shout out to Scapegrace Gin. Aotearoa Gin, you guys won't know what it is, unless you've got a mum like me. So a beautiful gin is the black gin that you put with tonic and it turns pink. So can I please have our beautiful, lovely judges up here today? And I'd like to say a massive thank you for your mahi.
Tēnā tātou katoa. To everyone who's been tuning in on Twitch for Get Into Games, nei rā te mihi kia koutou. We're going to be closing up for today. It's the end of our event. But yeah, thanks for all the support coming through, chatting, viewing everything that's been going on. And it's been awesome to see these kids being them, create themselves. seeing our Matauranga Māori being used in a space that's very digital, very new. So, and those kids feeling confident and comfortable in the environment. So, nei rā te oha, te whakamiha ki a koutou, Māori ora, ka kite.